And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another CranKy Duckling broadcast. One of the week of ESL Open Cup Americas number 185. I'm of course your ZvP, and with me I'm joined by my beautiful plushies, and the chat, and the beautiful chat as well. Ooh, and we have quite a matchup to kick things off. I apologize for the delayed start, but we were waiting for a series to become available. It took a little bit here for our players to get ready here in the round of 16, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Yes, we are here in the round of 16, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the French Protoss player rocking his old clan tag, but he is on Maturino Esports. It is Arrogfire. Here we go. Have been patiently waiting for this series, and yeah, it's honestly a pretty intense tournament already. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, because the bracket has been getting underway and the round of 16 is upon us. A lot of big names are facing off against each other. A lot of casters are covering a lot of matches as well. You have matchups like a Trigger versus Vindicta. We had Fiat versus Hero just wrap up as well. We have Mixu versus Nightmare. We have Disrespect versus Solar, Silky versus Max Pax, and Nice versus Geralt. So basically the entire round of 16 is underway. A couple of the matches are finishing up as we speak, but we are jumping into a fresh series here with Dark versus Arrogfire. The winner of this series goes up against the winner of Mixu versus Nightmare in the next round. So yeah, got a couple of ZvPs before us. Of course, big names are in the tournament. We are missing a couple. I think the biggest name that we're missing is Clem. Clem is a regular in ESL Open Cup Americas. He has been dubbed one of the two big degens of EU. It's Clem and Max Pax. Clem and Max Pax, they are the two European players that, the two top tier European players that typically do stay up late into the night to compete in ESL Americas. Max Pax is here, Clem is not, so alas, Max Pax doesn't have his compadre in crime alongside him this week, but probably next week. It's all good. Until then, do have our own ZvP though, our own matchup so far. Stargate opener from Arrogfire, nothing too crazy. Likewise, Dark going for a hatch gas pool, getting his third base up and running. We are just droning. Everything is looking normal from the side of Dark. Even pulled out of gas as well. The efficiency is real. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to cast Arrogfire. I haven't been able to cast him ever since he joined Maturino, I believe. I just haven't had the luxury of doing so. And I'm really curious to see how much more practice he's put in. I know Maturino, they've been doing a great job at supporting their players. I know they're very passionate about supporting their players. Yeah, did have a bit of an overreaction there. Did kill the Ling, didn't lose a probe, but did lose quite a bit of mining time there to that first Ling. Dark got a full scout off. He confirms the Stargate. He confirms the Oracle coming out. But again, Maturino Esports have done a great job of supporting Estrella and Future. I feel like they are the star players on Maturino Esports. But it's important to bear in mind that Maturino, they have other players on their team as well. Players like Demi, players like Arrogfire. Players that, you know, are willing to put in the time, to put in the effort to compete, to improve, and to dedicate to StarCraft. And we can see already here being punished for not having that Spore. The Adepts getting a lot of damage done here in the natural base. 5 drones go down. Oracle dives into the main base as well. There is a Spore waiting for it though, so Oracle doesn't find any more damage, but 5 drone kills is not too bad, especially for 2 Adepts. Meanwhile, across the map, Lings of Dark are here looking to deny any kind of third base. Because of the opener, third should be upon us momentarily, but Dark is here to delay it. So even though Dark took some damage across the map, again, he's containing his opponent to these 2 bases. Arrogfire just now trying to push out, but may be forced to activate this Pulsar Beam. Otherwise, he may lose a little bit much. For now, good SimCity, good positioning. Adept is going to avoid the surround. Third base is on the way. Second and third Oracle are out behind the Twilight Council and a Forge. This is the standard follow-up here in ZvP. The Lings have arrived, but they can't quite do too much here. Do force the activation of that beam though, so some wasted energy here for Arrogfire. Nice done by Dark, as he is saturating his bases, joining up behind this as well. No Spore at the third base, so his third is a little bit vulnerable. Damage could be done, never mind. I was gonna say damage could be done here, but now we just throw down another Spore Crawler. It is on the way. The double Oracle moving out across the map. One of them barely with any energy, unfortunately. Is going to be forced back. And things are settling down for the most part. I say for the most part, ooh, as we do force to cancel one of those gateways, is that Dark is obviously a very active player, and especially in this matchup, especially on this map, on Ancient Cistern, is very fond of this mass Ling style. As I say that, he's going for a lair, he's going for the Roach one. I'm curious how heavily he's going to invest into these Roaches. I'm curious how active Arrogfire is going to be. With these +1 Blink Stalkers, you can move out on the map, but we can see that we're taking instead. We're taking up to Charge, into a Twilight Council. We're going into Charge or Archon from here. We actually skipped Blink entirely, but it's going to be a little bit here before we can really be active on the map. Really, we're just waiting for the Prism. Once the Prism comes out, we can morph in some High Templar, we can morph in some Archons, we can go for some drop harass across the map. We can even commit to a Zealot push as well. Unfortunately for Arrogfire, we already have Roaches coming out, so Dark should be ready for this. As the Oracles are being swatted away, creep being spread, Dark just taking control of his side of the map. Roaches are coming out. And yeah, Arrogfire, he is expanding, but behind this expansion, or in front of this expansion, we are pushing out with this army. I believe the Prism has arrived. Yep, there we go. The Prism has arrived, so we can reinforce across the map. And this is going to be a pretty intense army here from Arrogfire. It would be pretty terrifying if Dark had skipped out on the Roaches. But again, we have Roaches back in him to defend. We should be able to kite. We should be able to handle this army. And we can see Dark just diving on forward as well. He's going to be taking a lot of hits to the face from these Zealots. But he gets himself the first Archon. The Lings, they come in for a surround as well. And Dark is going to shut down this army. We do have another wave of reinforcements, but alas, it just isn't enough. Dark does hold. And that was an expensive loss for Arrogfire. He lost, I believe, 2 Archons. Yes, 2 Archons in that engagement. Very expensive, very intense losses that I'm sure he would have liked to have avoided. As behind this, he's backing off. He's taking his fourth base. He can still be active with these Oracles, of course, don't get me wrong. There's still damage potential here, but the Queens should be in position. Yeah, the Queens are in position. We're only going to lose 1 drone as well. Dark has a lot of momentum going his way. He does have nothing but Lings and Roaches. Already droned up to 75. Doesn't intend to drone up any more from here, at least for now. The shield battery overcharges pop, but it goes down almost instantly. And after losing all those units earlier, Arrogfire just doesn't have much of a standing army. Not anymore. He's got a couple of Zealots, a couple of 1 Archon, 1 Immortal, and 1 Disruptor. The Nova is going to go off. A decent connection on 2 of those Roaches, but alas, it was just too much on the ground. Arrogfire microing his heart out here, just juggling the Immortal and juggling the Disruptor as best he can. Dark is going to be forced back at the same time. It looks like we had a little bit of harass across the map as well. 4 drones did for the Disruptor. No! No! The Disruptor goes down. Reinforcements come in. Dark, unrelenting, doesn't want to turn around, doesn't want to let up the pressure. Coming back in, taking down another wave of units. Another Disruptor goes down as it reinforces. And Dark has just been trading so well. Arrogfire, he's going to try and hold on here. I mean, he's been able to successfully tech up into Disruptor production. Unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to build up a solid Disruptor count for him to stabilize. Time and time again, the Disruptors, they just keep getting sniped. 1 more Disruptor does come out. He's gonna try to hold on to his 4th base. And hey, you know, he has been holding. Just barely every time. We can see Dark respecting that Nova quite a bit. Nova goes off, takes out 2 of those roaches. And now that that has gone off, we can just commit. We can commit. We can dive on top of this base once again. Arrogfire. Juggling his heart out with those Archons. Second Disruptor is on the way. There's only so much he can do as Dark has maxed out. Big Nova goes off. We need more than Novas at this point. At this point, we just don't have a standing army. As there's too much to juggle, it's just becoming too intense. GG gets called, and Dark takes game number 1. Too chaotic is what I meant to say. Oh, but in the chaos, that is where Dark does thrive. GG, well played. He takes game number 1, taking a lead in this series. But, you know, Arrogfire, he had a couple of moments here. He definitely had a couple of moments. His initial Adept Harass was looking really damn good. It just all started to fall apart, really, when it came to his push. The Archon charge lot push. It isn't just that it got deflected, it's that he lost 2 Archons in the push as well. Like, Zealots, they're... If you're a Zealot out there, I apologize. But Zealots, they're disposable. You know, they're not the most impactful unit to lose. But losing Archons that early on really is massive, and it does make the defense of the later push that much more difficult as well. We saw how hard it was for Arrogfire to hold on to his 4th base. Dark just snowballing out of control. And now we're getting ready for game 2. Game número 2. Looks like a couple of other matches are getting underway. Looks like a couple other matches are finishing up as well. It looks like Hero and MaxPax, they did defeat their respective opponents. Hero versus MaxPax is beginning. I don't know if anyone is casting that. I hope so. Hope someone is covering that series. As they're facing off in a PvP. Meanwhile, we did just get an update that Solo did 2-0 Disrespect. Trigger just took down Vindicta 2-1 as well. Trigger just took down Vindicta 2-1. And Trigger is going to be facing off against Solar in the quarterfinals. My condolences to Miguelito. My condolences. But I'll got a lot of love. Got a lot of love for Vindicta. And at least he did force the ace match. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover that series. I want to say Artosis. Was covering Trigger versus Vindicta. So at least his matches were covered. At least they were covered by another English caster. As we are jumping into this and spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Protoss player representing Mancherino Esports. It is Arrogfire. I was wondering. Yes, I am still waking up. We had 2 back-to-back casts yesterday. 2 back-to-back casts. We casted ESL Asia into the Masters Coliseum qualifiers, and I had a bunch of alarms set up, but I woke up like 10 minutes before we went live. Literally 10, like less than 10 minutes actually. Oh god. So we're still piecing it all together, Pappy. We're piecing it all together. Look good. Hatch gas spool opener here from Dark. Thankfully, nothing too crazy yet. Or really, I need something crazy. Need something crazy to wake up the brain. Ooh. As we get into game number 2. Just double checking a couple of things and we should be good. We should be good. Oh, as we are getting into our second game, so far nothing too crazy. I'm just trying to wonder how I would approach this series if I were Arrogfire. I don't think there's any shame in going for a Stargate opener again. Going for these charged out Archon styles, I'm not too fond of. Like, Dark isn't really one to cut corners, especially when it comes to producing units. You're not really gonna catch Dark droning too often, just because of his aggressive nature. Solar, sure, maybe, yeah, 100%. You can catch Solar off guard. Dark, I feel not as much. Oh my god. As Dark is making a massive, he's making a massive wave of Lings. Gonna be cutting drones very early on here at 20. We have Lings on the way. Dark wants this to be over with. He wants to move on to the next round. Wants to face off against either Nightmare or Mixu. Yeah, we're link flooding, Bobby. We're link flooding. Lings being sent out towards the corners of the map. This is a bold move to do on Royal Blood. Royal Blood doesn't require too much to wall off here. 2 buildings and 1 unit. The Adept is going to be moving out. Speaking of the Adept, the first one of Arrogfire is just trying to get a read on what's going on. Hasn't seen the Lings. The Lings, they have been avoiding the Adepts here of his opponent, and here we go. Dark is about to pull the trigger, just waiting for Link speed to kick in. Still 10 seconds away. Drones are going down, but he should recognize that, hey, there aren't that many drones to begin with. There we go. We do force the recall. Lings are across the map. They're getting us around on the gateway. Gateway surrounded. Warp gate is not done. We do have, I believe, 2 Adepts back at home to defend. Gateway does go down. That is the production gone. We do have an Oracle on the way and a backup gateway. Speaking of a backup gateway, it is going to be going down. Lings are looking for a way in. The Oracle does come out in time. Arrogfire is holding back across the map. Dark is re-droning. Did lose a lot of drones earlier to those Adepts. 3 drones did go down. And now, yeah, Dark has got some catching up to do. He forced his opponent to go back home. He forced some wasted energy on the Oracle. Killed a gateway. Not much else though. Well, killed 2 gateways actually, to be fair. But Arrogfire, I would say, is still in a better position. It's not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad at all. We have additional gateways on the way, additional oracles as well. The first one gets across the map. Looks like a couple more drones went down, but only 2 additional drones. As Arrogfire is just focusing here on taking their 3rd base, on establishing their 3rd. As we are attempting to rebuild the wall, I appreciate it. Oh, a bit of a premature activation on that pulsar beam, but regardless, 3rd base is being taken. I will say, unfortunately, Arrogfire, his follow-up is delayed. This could have been a little bit faster, especially considering how late the 3rd was. Twilight Council and Forge are on the way, just gonna be a bit of a ways off here before we get into our upgrades. But before that happens, the Oracles are across the map. A lot of drones are going down. 6 drones do fall. Very nice damage done here by Arrogfire. 6 workers do go down. Dark hurting economically. Like, again, he went for the all-in earlier, and now after losing all those workers, I would say that Arrogfire still has the economic advantage right now. Dark has to come back from behind. He's going for a lair. He's going for the Roach Warren. Should be 4 Roach speed. So Dark not doing anything too crazy here, just trying to macro out of this position. It is going to be a tough road to walk here for Dark. And Arrogfire is no slouch. I would appreciate it if Arrogfire just turtled in a way, just focused on solidifying their 3-base economy, worked on even Colossus production behind this, or get into their rover production. Do you think there would be a lot of power in that? As the Oracles dive in once again with 3 Oracles, we can ignore spores. 4 more drones go down. Alright, once again hurting. trying to find a way in with these Lings, but he runs into a wall of Stalkers. There's no fourth base to take advantage of. Arrogfire, can he make a series out of this? Personally, I hope so. I want to go the distance. I want to go to the ace match. Dark is actually going to be cutting workers at 68, so he's going for 3-base saturation. Not really droning up more than that. He's focusing on a Ling Roach army instead. Oh, as Arrogfire does attempt to establish another base. And Dark is taking up a little bit further. He's going for an infestation bit. I do appreciate this from Dark. This is looking like the beginnings of Hydra Tech and Lurker Tech. We'll see. Hive Tech, obviously. Meanwhile, the Roaches have arrived. A couple of them are being picked off here by these Stalkers at the same time. Ling counters like, oh, gets us around on the Adept, gets us around on the Stalkers as well. Thankfully, Blink does finish up just in time. Likewise, Arrogfire still on the front lines, dancing with the main army of Dark. These are expensive losses for Dark, by the way. He's losing quite a lot of Roaches. Roaches are going down. A bit of an extra move command there from Dark as well. He tries to trigger that stasis trap. It will go off, taking down a lot of these Roaches. Dark is in a lot of trouble. So far, the Blink Stalker control is good. The Stalker army is getting very battered and bruised. Arrogfire has to be careful not to overextend. Yeah, but we get the full surround as well. Arrogfire, he's going to be able to swallow up this army. The Oracles come in. He smells blood in the water. He's going to dive on top of these Roaches. And Dark is going to be losing his entire army. We have a couple of reinforcements coming on in. Can Dark hold on? There's so much going against him right now. Again, after the failed all-in. He's getting on top of a lot of these Stalkers, to be fair. He's trading well for himself. Oh, surprisingly well. But it shouldn't be enough, especially with these reinforcements. Unfortunately, there is no prism to reinforce across the map, so it takes a little bit longer for these Stalkers to actually rock up, but it should be enough to at least break this hatchery. It should be enough to break Dark himself. Queens are falling. I'm loving the blinks as well from Arrogfire, just supporting his army. Roaches are trying to go for another surround. That Arrogfire, he just backs off from there. And Dark, he's in a really rough position. He's down in the economy, he's down in the bases. He's going for fungal. He's going for pathogen glands, which is of course the infestor upgrade. With that, we're going to be able to fungal and lock down these Stalkers, but I don't know if we're going to really be able to pull that off. As Arrogfire, he rotates around, is going to be hitting laying siege upon this third base. The most important mining base right now of Dark. I was gonna buy him a little bit of time. +2 range on the way. Queens are coming over as well. Zealot does deny the fourth base. Dark, can he come back from this position? It'd be really impressive if he did. I will say that Arrogfire does have quite a lead right now. Oh, we do have 7 infestors on the way. There is potential with fungals. There is definitely potential. As Arrogfire takes another base. Arrogfire, this is his 5th, by the way. Dark is still only on 3 bases. The problem is that, like, turtling in ZvP is not... It's so difficult without lurkers. Lurkers specifically, they can help you out when you're at a supply deficit. But here we go. The army does blink on forward. Does take a fungal to the face. Is that going to be enough, though? I don't think it is. Decent fungals are being thrown down. Roach is coming to reinforce at the same time. A massive warp in here on the 4th base, and that is going to be denied once again. GG gets called, and Arrogfire ties up the series 1-1. Oh, GG. We are going to the ace match. Going all the way to game number 3 again. Really powerful result there out of Arrogfire. Dark being a little bit too ambitious. Again, these Ling Floods are I've seen them a couple of times on Royal Blood, and I don't like it. So the reason, so I understand the logic. I think the logic is that because it's such a safe map, it's unexpected, and it was unexpected. You know, Arrogfire had no idea what was happening until the Lings were already at his front door. Arrogfire had to very quickly wall off and very quickly recall to be able to preserve his units. So I understand that aspect of it, but specifically on Royal Blood, it doesn't take that long, or it doesn't take that much to wall off, right? To fully wall off on 2 bases and to minimize your losses, to buy enough time for an Oracle to come out, for another warp in as well. We saw that Arrogfire, he didn't really have the hardest time defending. He lost a gateway. 2 gateways, sure. Did lose 2 gateways, but that's it. That's all he lost against the Ling Flood of Dark. And Dark, from that moment, he set himself behind. Arrogfire was so quick to counterattack with his oracles as well, and he was able to get quite a lot of counter damage across the map. Even initial drone damage with his adepts, and yeah, that did snowball into a victory. Now we have a game 3. Now we have an ace match. Is there a world where Arrogfire takes down Dark? Is that this world? Are we living in that reality? Oh boy, I am concerned as we let we have a couple of other casters joining us. A couple of other casters joining us here for game number 3. Don't blame them. Don't blame them. It is a good series. I guess that means other matches have finished. I guess? Question mark? Don't know. I'm not too sure what Steadfast was covering before this, but he is going to be joining us. Or maybe he was casting Nightmare. Maybe. Speaking of, it looks like we have a player waiting in the next round. Nightmare did take down Mixu 2-1. Yo, shout out to Mixu. He forced the ace match out of Nightmare. Let's go. Did force that ace match, but Korean Protoss is waiting here in the next round for either the Zerg or the Protoss to advance on. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Gress Farm. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing DragonKy Gaming. Dropping in that last game here, forced into the ace match. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have his opponent. We have the French Protoss player representing Matcherino Esports, forcing the ace match, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is Arrogfire. Here we go. Now again, when it comes to Arrogfire winning that last game, as Dark does take his natural, you'll have to see it. But when it comes to Arrogfire taking that last game, a lot of it was because Dark did go for the all-in. He did go for a massive Ling Flood, and it didn't do enough damage. Did not do enough. Dark put himself in a really awkward position, maybe not respecting his opponent enough. Of course, a shout out to Arrogfire for being able to withstand that all-in and being able to, of course, just have a solid response to it, able to really solidify himself on his 3 bases and take a massive lead. This time, I imagine Dark, at least in the early game, is going to be opening up much more standard. I imagine we're going to drone. I imagine we're not going to Ling Flood. I hope so. Hope that is the case. See the chat, Lunacy in the chat. The mental break, the mental loss there. Oh god, WTL, they're gonna have to dock him some points. But yeah, Dark was just trying to be a little bit cheeky in that last game. Here so far, we'll keep an eye out for any signs of aggression from Dark. So far, nothing too major, just been droning. He took a little bit of a later natural base, but he did so in favor of taking his natural, in favor of not being forced into one of these other third base locations. So it's all good. Speed on the way, we do pull out of gas. Likewise, Stargate opener once again out of Arrogfire. Now we are on Gresfan, a map that is known for its defensive play. This isn't a bad map for Arrogfire to go for a Stargate opener into a third, into Blink, into double Robo Colossus. It's a style that can work very well on some of these defensive maps like Gresfan. We've seen it work on Neo Humanity as well. I don't know if Arrogfire is really one to go for that though. He did mix things up. If you remember, in Game 1 he went for Charger Archon. Game 2 he did go for Blink Stalkers. Here in Game 3, I would prefer the Blink opener on this map as well. I do think that there's a little bit more that you can pull off with it. I do think that it can be very defensive as well if we want to go for a longer game, if we want to go for a later timing. I do think there's a lot of power in that. Meanwhile, Dark going to be sending out his first wave of links. He's going to be trying to catch out these adepts if possible, and it looks like he may get one. Oh! Oof. Both adepts do barely manage to slip away. Third base, not quite going to be thrown down yet. Oh, one adept is going to be going down. We're going to surround on the second adept as well. Good pickoffs here from Dark. Very nice pickoffs. As the Lings do get the hell out of there. Third base is thrown down for Arrogfire. Ah! A massive shout out to Miguelito in the chat. Gracias, papi, gracias. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great tournament run. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cast Miguelito earlier, but he did go up against Trigger, went all the way to the ace match. GG, papi, GG. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you're taking care as well. Hope you're taking care. Look after yourself, papi. Look after yourself. Oh, thank you, thank you. For those that are tuning in, we are in the middle of the cast of ESL Open Cup Americas 185. We're here in the round of 16. We're in the ace match of Dark versus Arrogfire. The winner of the series moves on to face Nightmare, and we're going to be following the winner of the series into that next matchup. Of course, into the conclusion of this tournament as well. So far, we are in the ace match. The Oracle is having a hard time finding damage. So far, the queen positioning here of Dark has been on point. He has been able to keep up as the Oracles try to rotate over towards the third base. But again, there is another wall of queens waiting for him. Ooh, Adepts do get surrounded. They are going to go down as well. Arrogfire not as successful this game when it comes to the harass. He does catch a couple of transferring workers, but it took a lot of hull damage to make that happen. Still though, three drone kills, not too bad. Arrogfire's going to back off. Oh, this is interesting. This is very different. Oh my god, Showtime, is that you? So Arrogfire does something very interesting. I was talking about how this map can be very defensive, and I was talking about how I would love to see him go double Robo Colossus. This is one step further. This is very Showtime-esque, very creator-esque as well. This is a very delayed Twilight Council. We went for a Forge and a Robo first before the Twilight Council. This means that we prioritize our upgrades, we prioritize Immortal production. We're not going to be too active on the map because we're going to have very delayed Blink and very delayed Charge. But instead we're going to have just a solid death ball of an army back at home with Archons, with Immortals, with soon-to-be Disruptors and Colossus as well. As we are taking up even more heavily here, the first Disruptor is on the way. We're going for a Dark Shrine as well. I don't know how I feel about the Dark Shrine. It's like, I do understand the power behind it, but I am also concerned at the same time. Meanwhile, the Lynx do go for a bit of a backstab with the armies in position. The Immortals have been spotted. With the revelation of these Immortals, we're going for a Spire. Oh boy, I think this is a really wise choice out of Dark. Accurately reading the situation here, accurately reading that, okay, because we have Immortal production, because we have a fourth base, it looks like we have delayed the Twilight Council, which means there's no Blink, which means that there is no secure way to deal with these mutas. But the Hallucination Scout, it does get into the main base, and he does see the Spire. Everything has been spotted. Arrogfire is now aware that he needs anti-air. It's something that he is lacking. There's no Blink. There's no Phoenixes. No Archons yet. But Arrogfire now has all the information he needs. And he should be reacting to it. For a moment there, I think he started Phoenix, but he did cancel it. He's going to be rechecking, making sure that there's no cancel on... Yeah, he even throws out the revelation. Making sure that the Spire wasn't cancelled before he begins Phoenix production. And yeah, Arrogfire, he's not really going to be too active with his main army yet. Like, this is what we've been working on. We've been building up these Archons, Immortals, Disruptors. The Death Ball is upon us. We're just relying on these oracles to harass across the map. Fun fact, because Showtime plays this style a lot, Showtime actually makes 4 oracles instead of 3. The reason for that is because, as we can see, we're not really being active with too much else. The only thing that's really keeping Dark back are these oracles. So investing into a 4th oracle can be worth it at times. Just because you have a little bit more DPS, a little bit more firepower. You can even split up your oracles two by two to one-shot workers and to like out multitask your opponent. We can see Arrogfire, he's only going for 3 for the time being. Only 3 oracles. It's going to be threatening a dive towards that 3rd base. The Queens do force those oracles back. Dark has been able to max out with a Lingbane Roach Ravager army. Mailing speed is still a ways off, but I don't think Arrogfire is going to push out anytime soon, so these upgrades, they should be able to kick in. Meanwhile, the Spire did finish. Dark didn't make any mutas. The reason for that is because he knows that Arrogfire saw him. He knows that he's been scouted, so there's no reason to make mutas yet. He does have the tech available, and oh my god, with that Hive, he goes for a Greater Spire. Oh, it's so smart. I feel like this is a really smart way to actually make use of the tech that you have, despite being scouted. Speaking of, a Hive has been spotted. Hallucination dives towards the natural. No, it will not get eyes on the Greater Spire. It will go down. Again, that's why Bailing Speed is so late. That's why these upgrades are so late. It's in favor of the tech, in favor of the Hive and the Greater Spire. But now Arrogfire is getting ready to push out, and this is dangerous. Look at this. Look how many Archons we have. Oh my god. 11 Archons. Banelings are rolling on in. We do have some solid force fields being thrown down the Banelings. We'll find some connections on the Immortals. Immortals are going to get picked off. No, never mind. The juggling is a little bit too good. Arrogfire keeps the Immortals alive, keeps the majority of the Archons alive as well. That was a lot of Banelings down the drain. The Greater Spire isn't done. We don't have Corruptors to morph into Broodlords. We have to rely on Lingbane Roach Ravager. Oh god, and it looks like Dark may not have enough. The Archon's doing so much in the backline. The Zealot's doing a great job at buffering here for the army. Dark just wasn't quite ready for this. We do have some Roach reinforcements though. It looks like Arrogfire is running out of steam. We need some good Novas. We need some good connections, and he is pushing through into the natural base. Another wave of Zealots are coming in behind this as well. Good target firing on the Ravagers. But Dark is running out of steam, and Arrogfire, he is doing it. The upset is real. Dark is the best Zerg player in South Korea, but French... That's French? Oh, I was going to say Arrogfire. He's just a French boy, and he's coming out strong here. He's coming out swinging. Do have a couple more Roaches coming out to reinforce. We do see that we are running out of Zealots here to buffer for this army, but massive Novas will go off, and... G... 1G? G gets called as Arrogfire takes the series 2-1. Oh my god. GG, well played. Congratulations to Arrogfire for the upset here. Again, Dark is one of the favorite players to take the entire tournament, but Arrogfire was able to bring him down here. Did punish Dark for the all-in in game number 2, and here in game number 3, Arrogfire doing such a great job at mustering up this army that Dark was not able to really punish in any way, shape, or form. So that Dark had a bit of a rougher early game, wasn't able to slow down his opponent, was taking up into a Spire, which he couldn't make use of because he got scattered, was taking up into a Hive and a Greater Spire, which he also couldn't make use of. Dark needed more time to get into Broodlord tech. Arrogfire didn't give him that time. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Arrogfire, as I should announce that. should announce that to the people. GG, well played. And that means we have a PvP. That means Arrogfire is going to be going up against Nightmare in the next round. Oh, let's go, Poppy. Let's go.